what you are. I don't know. I'm Stephen Sashen, co-CEO, co-founder of XeroShoes.com. I have the t-shirt to prove it. And this is our monthly Ask Me Anything. This is a live event. So if you are watching live, you can put in your comments and questions below. I will see them there on my screen and I will respond. If you're not watching this live, you can still put in comments and questions below and I will respond as soon as I'm able. We normally do this on the second Tuesday of every month. But last week, my wife, Lena, and I, co-founder, co-CEO, were in Cuba celebrating our 20th anniversary. So we moved things to be a little later, and here we are. Really quickly, again, any comments or questions, put them in below. And also just want to let you know that, wait, I had some thought about this. I want you to know that I'm aware I have a spot on my nose because last night I don't know what the hell I did. I just moved my hand and accidentally scraped the front of my nose. Yes, you can make big nose jokes if you like, because that's what happened. So again, this is an Ask Me Anything event. Just a quick couple notices. We are at xeroshoes.com, xeroshoes.eu, xeroshoes.co.uk. And if you need any help, you can email our customer happiness team, support@xeroshoes.com. If you have any requests or feedback, you can go to xeroshoes.com/feedback to leave that. Okay. And then, so Lars, sometimes I've heard that, heard they yelling or running behind me. Wait, heard that yelling or running behind me. Wait, I'm trying to read this. Sorry. Won't get anything extra at the end. Is there anything true in that? I'm not sure what you're asking, Lars, so I don't know how to answer your question. Try again, if you would. William, any chance you guys are working on a certified steel-toed shoe? Every chance. That's the best I can say at the moment. High on our list. Not as easy as one might imagine when you're trying to make something protective, but still functional as a technical work boot and gives you that natural movement that is actually beneficial for everyone. Gabby, hi. Great to see you again. Xero is still one of my top two brands, as always, incredibly comfy. Thank you. Tracy would love to see a waterproof version of a road running shoe like the Prio. How about a waterproof version of something like the HFS? I'm not saying we're working on it and it'll be coming out in the spring. I would never say anything like that. By the way, people who know me, who've been on these calls, know that I can't keep a secret. So that was a hint. Let's leave it at that. Gabby just wore the Ridgeway. I love it. I have a very thick or high volume foot, and the Ridgeway are pretty easy to get on, full of space, warm, and I love the blue color with the yellow laces. Thank you. Ridgeway, if you haven't seen it, is our retro style hiking boot. Normally I'd be at the office doing this with a whole bunch of shoes behind me on the wall, but there's some illnesses going around. You may have heard of some of these things, and I can't go to the office right now. I'm okay. In fact, I'm looking at a test result thing right now, and it basically says I'm fine. So do it that way you will. HFS will be fine, Tracy says. Good. I'm glad you think so. All right. For people who don't know anything about Xero Shoes, because that happens on these calls, let me do the world's quickest introduction. We're here to help you feel what you've been missing: natural comfort, performance, and health. What does that mean? Well, think about your body, and I'll tell you some things you might not know. Your feet, for example, have 1/4 of the bones and joints of your entire body. Bones and joints are about movement. That movement in your feet is about balance, agility, and mobility. If your feet can't do that job because you're in a stiff shoe, then that function tries unsuccessfully to move up into your ankle, your knee, your hip, and your back. That can be problematic. Also, your feet have more nerve endings than anywhere in the soles than anywhere but your fingertips and your lips. That's to feel things. You need that feedback so your brain knows how to move your body effectively, efficiently, and enjoyably. And if you got a big, thick sole, you're not getting that feedback, and thick sole makes you tippy as well. So at Xero Shoes, we want to let your feet do its job so your body can do its job as well. And here's how we do that. First, wider foot-shaped toe box so your toes can spread and relax and do what's natural. Low to the ground for balance and agility. We don't elevate your heel with a thing called heel lift. That messes with your posture. And then we don't have a thing called toe spring. That messes with your gait. Our soles are incredibly flexible. That's perfect. People often see this and go, hey, that's perfect for travel. That's perfect for travel, but you get the idea. That flexibility, your foot obviously doesn't do this, but that shows you that your foot can do what it's supposed to do. And the soles are designed to give you traction and protection, of course. They're also backed with a 5,000-mile sole warranty, and they give you that ground feedback that your brain is looking for to know how to move your body effectively, efficiently, and enjoyably. Last but not least, really, really lightweight. Xero shoes are so light, we've literally had people tell us they've gone to bed still wearing their shoes without knowing it. We had some pickleball players recently say they put on our shoes, they were a little worried about how it was going to be out on the court, and they forgot they were even wearing shoes while they were playing. So that's what we do. And we have a complete line of casual and performance shoes, boots, and sandals for everything you can think of that you're doing, with more stuff we're adding every year because we keep thinking of more things and you keep telling us more things that you're looking for. So that's what we're up to. All right, I'm going to read some more comments and away we go. Connie, hi, Stephen. Just got my first pair of Xero shoes a couple of weeks ago. Got the Pre-O'Neill. I love them. I love that shoe as well. Gabby, one thing I love about Xeros is that you make shoes in beautiful shades of blue, my favorite color. Me too. Keep doing that. I want waterproof HFS in blue. Go to xeroshoes.com/feedback to submit that. Also, I love the Speed Force in Orion Blue. It's a great improvement in both appearance and comfort. This is the Speed Force. This is a shoe that I originally co-developed with a guy who'd been at Nike for 30 years. It looked a little like a bowling shoe, but that was a 400-year-old design where you just take an panel on the outside, panel on the inside, and the tongue becomes the sole, becomes the heel. It's really, really cool. But we've updated it and made it much cooler looking. These straps, like the straps on many of our shoes, not sewn down, so you get adjustable fit in your instep and your midfoot, and in this case, your heel as well. Yeah, this is the shoe. I'm a competitive sprinter. So for men over 60, I'm one of the fastest guys in the country, and this is what I wear to train and compete in. FYI. But we have people who use it for everything, just walking around, pickleball. If you want the closest thing to a barefoot shoe, that's the one. All right, a couple other things. Wait, let's, Allie, hi, Steve, looking for a waterproof boot or runner, and all the ladies not in the Mesa Trail and Ridgeway are not available. What can I do here? Contact our customer happiness team at support@xeroshoes.com and ask them when things are coming in. And we have got some other waterproof stuff as well. The Mesa Trail Waterproof Ridgeway, Excursion Fusion, but check with our customer happiness team. They'll know when things are coming back. I don't keep that info in my head because I don't have room any longer. Boot, you meant boot. I got the hint. Michael, why can't I wear any other shoes after wearing my Xero shoes? I had a major philosophical problem after I started doing this. That is, what am I going to do with my old shoes that I'm never going to wear again? I don't want to donate them somewhere because I don't want to give crappy shoes to people. So I don't even know how I resolved it, frankly. I sold a couple on eBay before I had that crisis of faith. And yes, we're addictive. I'll admit it. Once you go natural, you can't go back. What rhymes with natural? Give me a rhyme with natural so we can come up with a fun version of that phrase. All right, Katie, what's the best way to clean the white knit shoe? Can they go in the washing machine? By hand is, of course, the best thing you can do. Our customer happiness team doesn't recommend washing machine, but they're not here right now. So if you're going to do it, put them like in a knit bag or a mesh bag so they don't get bounced around in a full load, cold, nothing aggressive is the bottom line, air dry. But I would try soap and water first. And then there are some things our customer happiness team might know better than I, like some spray stuff that is protective. I'm not sure what those things are, but there may be something you can use in the future. Gabby, suggestion, I have swanky blue Oxfords with brogues and wingtips, soft string. I made a lovely pair like that. I want you to do something similar for women like the Glen, but more beautiful. Interesting that you're saying that. Drop a picture of that or a link to a picture of that at xeroshoes.com/feedback. But we are working on something Glen-like for women coming out in the not too distant future. Gabby, once again, I donated all my New Balances when I got into barefoot shoes. I've been doing natural footwear for 2 years and 1 month, never going back. How could you? Blake, hi, Stephen. Pairing my Xero shoes, Kelso and Ridgeway, with Injinji socks. Do you have any other suggestions for gear clothes to pair with Xeros to help improve toe splay and foot shape? I haven't used toe spreaders. You can get them from correcttoes.com, or if you go to Naboso, I think naboso.com, Naboso. These are our friends, Dr. Emily Splickle and her husband, Michael, who've created the Naboso insoles that we do sell. I happen to have a pair of these here. And they also make toe spreaders as well. Correct Toes makes like the pro version, and the Naboso ones are, one step down from that, whatever that means. So something that I've heard a lot of people like. I haven't experienced them personally because I don't need that. And other than that, nothing I can think of in terms of something to pair with your shoes. I would recommend pairing clothes with your shoes to answer your question. I found that many people find it better when you're in barefoot shoes, that you're not bare everywhere else. Hold on, a bunch of things coming in. Yikes. Gabby, Glenn Life for Women, I want. Arakai says, Steve, you rock, man. Very kind of you. And then he does one of these and one of these. And Bentano, been wearing Xeros for years and love them, but as a martial artist, I'd love a martial arts barefoot shoe with the sole and shape of the Kelso, flat laces, thin breathable upper. Any plans? I can't quite make out exactly what you're thinking from that description. So, but more importantly, whatever it is, like spell it out. And if there's examples to give some ideas of some of these things, go to xeroshoes.com/feedback, because that's where our product team lives. And they look at all these recommendations and suggestions and work with that. In the meantime, this is going to be the most barefoot thing that you can think of for martial arts. This is the Speed Force 2. So I would take a gander at that. But I get where you're going. So yeah, leave that suggestion over at xeroshoes.com/feedback. Peter, what the Denver be? I'm guessing you mean something I will. The Denver, hold on, things are coming in. Denver boot be good for the winter. I live in a place that gets not very much snow, almost zero. So that's what we made that for. The Denver boot, either the canvas or the leather version, has a flannel lining and a heat reflective sole. So it's a great cold weather shoe if you don't get snow. And even if you don't get snow, if you don't get snow, the Alpine is a wonderful, wonderful shoe as well. William, would I ever make a 5-finger shoe similar to what Vibram does? Nope. The joke is that had those things fit my feet, I would have never started this company. But to make a 5-toe thing, let's just say the shape of someone's foot, there are, let's see, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 7 different variations. And for a lot of people, there's no way to make something that works for everybody is the bottom line on that. So they never fit my feet because I have Morton's toe, first toe shorter than my second toe. And just the sweep of my toes, my pinky toe never ended up in one of those little pockets. So yeah, we're not going there. Michael, once you go splay, there's no other way. That's nice. I still like natural, but once you go splay, there's no other way. That's a winner. Let's see. Michael, 5 pairs of Xero shoes and counting. Don't stop counting, baby. And Peter, how good is the Denver boot for water resistance? The leather, of course, leather is naturally water resistant, especially you can wax it or do other things with that. The canvas one, not really water resistant, but there's some spray applications you can do for that. Don't quote me on this one, because I don't know if this works on canvas, but I've seen people do this on things like wool or faux wool, where they'll literally take a candle and rub it on there and then take a blow dryer and heat it up. And that gives you a water repellent thing. We had what's the word I'm looking for? Wool. Just said it a couple minutes ago, or not even a minute ago. We had a wool shoe called the Pacifica, and people did that on that shoe with great effect. Look online and see if someone says, has something like waterproof canvas shoe or how to waterproof a canvas shoe. And I bet you're going to find a bunch of YouTube videos of people who have ideas about that. If you're looking for like real waterproof, we have a number of waterproof shoes as well. So Robert, love all your shoes. As a blind person, I love the ground feedback and visualization they provide. Started out by receiving the Han as a gift and ended up buying 5 more various pairs. Robert, do me a favor, reach out to us, send an email to support@xeroshoes.com and tell them that I want to hear from you, because we've had a number of customers who are blind or visually impaired, and I want to do more to help that community. In fact, the first time we had someone come to our office, try on a pair of shoes, walk around outside and say things like, ooh, I can tell that I stepped on this crack before. Ooh, I can feel this. And he was blind. And I was almost embarrassed that I hadn't thought about how for many people, this is like giving you a whole new sense. And I want to see what I can do. So drop me in line and let's see if hopefully you can help me, or we can brainstorm a little bit together and help more people in that situation, which would make me incredibly happy. Carrie, anything in a 16 SRK? Not yet. We have very few. Let's say it this way, we have very few people who buy the 15s that we make. And so there'd be even fewer people who need a 16. So that doesn't mean we won't do it, but if we're going to, it would probably be for like 1 product, maybe 2. So do me a favor, go to xeroshoes.com/feedback. And if you had to pick your top 2 shoes for being a size 16, leave that feedback. It's like, if you make a 16, I'd love it in one of these 2 shoes. Okay. Bentano says, I'll do that. Thank you. Thank you. Gabby, OMG, I have Morton's toe too. Anya from Anya's Reviews call it the mountain shape, where the second toe is longer than the first. Well, the correction, Morton's toe, technically, is that your first toe is shorter than your second. Your first toe is supposed to be longer, not that your second toe is supposed to be shorter. Do with that what you will. Gabby says to the 5 pairs comment before, 5 pairs, ha, only 5 pairs, ha. Sorry, my dog is downstairs freaking out because there's a bunny in the yard. And when he sees a bunny in the neighbor's yard, he loses his doggy mind. Okay, what about adopting the Vibram style rubber? Seems longer lasting and stronger. It's actually not, FYI. So we've tested that and it's not the case. The abrasion resistance, the DIN abrasion on Vibram rubber is actually not as good as the Feel True rubber that we developed for ourselves, hence the 5,000 mile sole warranty on our shoes. FYI. Let's see, from Jeff, what do you recommend for a waterproof shoe in the desert so my feet don't get too sweaty? Well, look, if you have a waterproof shoe, it's going to be seam sealed. And even if it has a moisture, even if it has a Gore-Tex or so whatever moisture, wicking moisture, whatever, depending on what you're doing, your feet are going to sweat depending on who you are. And not all that water can make it out the door, if you will. It's just not possible. So, because, physics. So, waterproof shoe in the desert. I mean, all I can say is that our waterproof shoes right now, the Mesa Trail waterproof, come on, I can do this, the Excursion Fusion, the Alpine, I think I'm forgetting something. I can't keep them all in my head at the end of a long day. So I don't know how to reconcile that you want to make sure your feet are, what I'm going to recommend is you wear a thin pair of like merino wool socks with whatever you're doing, because that will be a little more absorbent. But again, just so you know, there's nothing in the universe that can keep you, if you're somewhere where it might get warm, actually, where your feet might sweat, waterproof just seals things in. That's what keeps water out. So maybe just a pair of socks could help with that. Maybe other people have some other suggestions. What's the best type of walking and jogging shoes for young people who have scoliosis or a tendency to hump? I am not a doctor and I don't play one on TV or the inner tubes. And it depends on where someone's scoliosis is. If you say tendency to hump, the simplest thing I can say is everything we do is made to be flat, zero drop. So the heel is not elevated from the ball of the foot. And that can help with posture. But the causes of scoliosis are many, and depending on how bad it is and what the curve is. I mean, there's so many things here that I can't give you a good recommendation. And of course, I can't make any medical claims that we're going to help with scoliosis or something like that. I can say that having your feet level on the ground can be beneficial for posture because you're not jacking up your heel, which of course you then have to adjust in your knees or your hips or your back. So that's the best thing I could say, but there's way more that we would have to dive into. And I am not a orthopedic surgeon or someone who is expert in scoliosis. I just have a minor scoliotic curve myself because my spine is kind of broken. And the way it's compensating is that little bit of curve, about a 15% curve. And one of my best friends had scoliosis from the time we were 12. And that's a whole other story. So he loves our shoes is all I can say. But that hasn't changed the fact that his spine is all out of whack. Oh, Paolo, my puppy. Oh, all right, let's see. God, we're getting a lot of questions. This is fun. Anna or Anna, I don't know which you are. My apologies. Oh, sorry, that was what I just read. So, and Gabby, what the heck happened to the Pagosa slipper? Sold out. And so we are getting more in, but I don't know when. So once again, if you drop a note to our customer happiness team, they will let you know. Because I don't know. Roxy, hey, what's the difference between the HFS original and the HFS 2, the HFS 2 minimalist as well? Yes, we are 100% committed to natural movement first and foremost, and then giving people what they need in terms of a level of protection from as barefoot as you can get. This is just 4.5 millimeters of our Feel True rubber to something like the Alpine, which has big lugs and a waterproof membrane and a heat reflective insole, et cetera. The HFS 2, the biggest change, frankly, is cosmetic. It is about a millimeter, little tiny bit over a millimeter thicker. What we've done is we've taken what we call our bare foam layer, and we just kind of wrapped it around the shoe to give it a cool look. It looks kind of like it has a midsole, but it doesn't. And for some road runners, they were just, when we tested it, people were just loving the feel of that a little more than the HFS, which is a little, tiny bit, I mean, literally millimeter, that bit closer to being like barefoot. So now if you want something that's that HFS feel, then the two shoes that still do that are the Forza Runner and the Zelen. So same sole as the original HFS, same design, just different upper construction, including the Born to Run version of the Zelen. So hopefully that's helpful. Gabby, again, tell me more about Morton's toe. That's all. Well, it's not an anatomical, like it's a collapse in one of the toes. Nah, it's just genetic. Just one of those things. Chris, what would you say to convince a skeptic? I want my dad to try these, but he's stubborn. So you can't convince a skeptic of anything. What you can do is present some situations to them that make them have to think about why they object. So for example, what I do, I say things like, well, first of all, if they have a shoe that squeezes their toes together, I like to point to their shoe and at their pointy toe box and say, so is that the shape of your toes or your foot? And if it's not, what problems do you think might be caused if you squeeze your toes together instead of letting them move? And they'll often answer what problems it might cause. Or if the heel is elevated, I'll say, that heel is elevated, which, as you know, changes your posture. It might be subtle, but any change makes a difference. So, like you can exaggerate that, have them step on something so it's just on their heel so they feel it even more and go, so, how are you adjusting to how that's shifting your posture forward? And even when you take, get off whatever you have underneath them, like a couple of magazines or something, your body's still adjusting to that. What problems might that cause and where? And they might tell you about the problems that things they feel in their knees or their hips or their back. Or I say, so you have 200,000 nerve endings in the soles of your feet. Why? It's to feel things. Why do you need to feel things? Well, I guess that way, it helps you move better. Cool. How much can you feel through those? Or I like to say, if you support a joint and don't let it move, like putting your arm in a cast, what happens after 8 weeks? And they'll say, gets weaker. It's like, or I say, does it come out weaker or stronger after you take the cast off? And they'll say weaker. I go, cool. So if you can't move your foot over time, what do you imagine might be happening? So I just try to point out things like that to get people to consider it or consider what's going on. If they say, well, I need the cushioning. Cool. Well, if cushioning is so good, why don't you get something that's, this thick? I mean, I agree with you. Cushioning is great. Why don't you just cut a chunk of a Tempur-Pedic mattress and use that as a shoe? And you'll realize, it's exaggerating to the point of absurdity. But, or it's like, I need arch support. It's like, well, how come? And they'll go, well, my doctor told me. Or what you can ask people if they believe a specific thing is, how did you come to believe that? And here's a thing that's a fun one. I'm going to put a link in here. Let's see. Wait, do I have this one handy? Let me see if I can pull this up really quickly. This is from the Nike website. And where is it? This might be it. On the Nike website, they have I don't want French. They have but I think this is what it is. Let me do it this way. On the Nike website, they have the results of a study that showed that their best-selling running shoe injured over 30% of the people wearing it in under 12 weeks. If that's the best you can do after 50 years, that's a problem. Interestingly, it's not the best they can do. They made another shoe that only injured 14.5% of the people in under 12 weeks. Again, if that's the best you can do, that's a problem. If we injured 15 to 30% of the people wearing our shoes in under 12 weeks, we'd be out of business and I would probably be in jail. So, that's one of those, do you believe everything big shoe companies tell you questions? And if so, why don't you believe what they say here? Their shoes demonstrably injured people. That's a problem. So I'm going to see if I can find this really quickly. 14.5. Let me see if this works. I don't want to mince footwear chart. This is tricky. I'm getting all these things that I don't want to see. Study. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm not finding what I'm looking for. Nike's, wait, hold on. Zoom structure. Let's see if that works. Reduce the risk of running injuries. Here we go. It's their Run Fearless program. I knew that. I just couldn't remember it. So, I'm being redirected to like 500 things before I actually get to their website. What the hell? Hold on. Nike.com run fearless. It's actually not quite that, but that's going to get me there. Okay, here we go. Nike. Here we go. All right, I'm going to put, all right, I'm coming back to you guys. I've been doing this for a while. All right, take a look again near the bottom of the page at the Run Fearless thing. Look at the info there. Crazy town. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. Yeah. From Bloodhound 0827. What's in the works right now over at Xero Shoes? So many things I can't even tell you. I mean, I literally can't tell you because I can't remember them. And I literally can't tell you because some of them, if I told you, I'd have to kill myself. I'm really bad at keeping secrets. But the real answer, frankly, is that there's a couple of them that I literally can't tell you about because of like non-disclosure agreements. But most of them I can't tell you because I just don't remember because if I tried to store everything we're doing in the future on the product side and the marketing side and the business side and the tech side, my brain would explode. So just make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter. You'll be hearing about all of them. Oh, let's see. Giovanni, Xero water shoes will allow water or sweat to move freely and dry. That's our Aqua X Sport. And so big open air, you step in water, it of course gets wet, you step out of the water and the water shoots out of it. So that's not the same as dry, but it dries like super, super fast. Gabby, someone told me that normal shoes are like casts for your feet and nothing else stronger after being in a cast. I think I just said that. There we go. So some people call normal shoes foot coffins. I'm the one who coined that. And JW, not a question, but I started wearing your shoes. I'm in love. It's crazy the difference. No, you're right. That is not a question, but I love hearing that you are loving what we're doing. That's why we're all here. So thank you for your support. The name you gave me. Hey, man. Hey, yes, I have a question. I did receive an answer from the feedback team. They did an amazing job, but I would like to ask you too. Is there a black high top sneaker in the works? Yes. Is that what they said? So simple answer. Yeah. Jeremy, just look at Deion Sanders' feet. Enough said. Yeah, that is a fact. And Deion, right down the street. Here we are in Colorado. He's right up the street in Boulder. So where I used to live, but moved into the burbs because we got a house that's bigger than what we needed, but we couldn't afford one smaller. And what that means is the closer you get to Boulder, the more expensive stuff gets for things that get tinier and tinier and tinier and tinier. Okay, track professionals don't seem to run in wide enough toe boxes. The shoes don't seem to have foam, but they do look narrow to me. So for sprinters, for middle distance runners, they're definitely wearing shoes that are not a whole bunch, if any, cushioning, but they are squeezing their toes together, which is silly. We're working, here's one I can tell you, someone asked before, we are working on a sprinting spike that will, because I'm a sprinter, so it's all about me. So that has a wide toe box, and we expect that that's going to be better because if you don't use your big toe properly, you're not getting all the benefits of what that does to your arch when you do use your big toe properly. And there's other things we're building into it that are really cool. It's going to be the lightest, most technically sophisticated shoe that anyone's ever seen, doing things in a completely different way than anyone's ever thought of because we're upside down in the way we think. Travis, do people really run barefoot? I've heard stories. Yes, many hundreds of thousands, in fact, both in America and everywhere else. So if you haven't read the book Born to Run, which is about the Tarahumara Indians and Christopher McDougall, who was a men's fitness writer, couldn't run, learned how to run barefoot, had no problems after that. He's a big guy, big, heavy guy. So he couldn't run at all without pain until he met his coach, Eric Orton, who got him running barefoot. And in fact, Born to Run, and then there's Born to Run 2, their book, which is the ultimate training guide. And it's great. The Tarahumara, they often run in sandals similar to ours, or they run barefoot. People all around the world do this. And when the barefoot running boom kicked off in 2009, there was, again, hundreds of thousands of people who got into it, and it's a blast. So, and if you haven't seen on our YouTube channel, look at the videos, Shit Barefoot Runners Say and Shit Runners Say to Barefoot Runners. It's in the Xero, I think it's like Xero Shoes Comedy section, playlist. You might find it there. Hey, by the way, totally unrelated thing. This is going to sound completely crazy, but I want to give a plug to someone. I get absolutely nothing for doing this, but I'm looking out our window. We just had a solar system installed, and I did a lot of vetting of solar installers, and most of them are liars. And I finally found a guy who is like one of the best people I've ever met. And in fact, we become friends, and I just want to help him out because he left a big company because he thought they were reprehensible and started something on his own. This guy's incredible. So if you are considering this is a unabashed plug. I get, by the way, nothing for this. I'm just helping him because he's a friend, and I really like what he's doing. Contact my friend Chris, and he's Chris, K-R-I-S. Contact Chris at, and his last name is Talent, T-A-L-L-E-N-T, at excitedenergy.com. .co. That's not a typo. Tell him I sent you, just because I did. Again, I get literally nothing for doing that, but I'm staring at our, Tesla power walls, and I can't stare at our things on the roof, but super, super cool. So anyway, totally unrelated. Mike, this may be wishful thinking, but are there plans to make a steel toe work boot? Not wishful thinking. There are plans. In fact, more than plans. We've been working on it. Like I mentioned earlier in the call, it's really tricky to make something that's both protective, gives you natural movement, and the other things that you need for a protective boot, including being able to handle stepping on a ladder, stepping on a shovel, etc. So there are a bunch of things, but high on our list. In fact, you reminded me. Wait, I'm going to make a note to check on that. Work boot. We're having a big meeting. Work boot. You guys didn't ask for one other thing we're working on, and but I'll tell you. Something for biking, for cycling. We have some professional cyclists that we sponsor, the Novo Nordisk team. This is a bunch of racers who are people who are, they have a phrase for it. I don't remember what it is, but they are people who have diabetes, type 1 diabetes. And we're sponsoring them, and they're wearing our stuff just to keep their feet strong when they get out of their clips, out of their cleats rather, or out of their whatever word I'm looking for bike shoes. End of the day, man. And we've had some professional cyclists say they're actually getting more power into the pedals when they're wearing our shoes than when they're clipped in their cycling shoes. And I have some reasons why I think that happens, but we want to prove that. And we have a couple of cyclists in our product team that we've talked about hacking something together to see what we can discover. So there's that. What else? Hey, I got to the end of the questions. So I don't want to keep everyone here forever because it's maybe a lovely evening where you are. It looks like it's going to start raining over here, and I have to take the dog for a walk, and he's starting to learn how to spell. So we have to come up with it. We refer to it as taking him for a perambulation or a constitutional or a stroll. We have to find synonyms, because if we use the W word, he goes crazy. So let's just do a quick last chance thing. Make sure you are getting our newsletter. If not, go to xeroshoes.com/newsletter, because we are going to be doing our giant holiday sale in the not too distant future, and you are definitely going to want to know about this, because it's going to be a doozy. And so we'll be announcing all of that coming up very soon, because as you know, people have been moving what used to be just Black Friday to earlier and earlier and earlier. We got to follow suit. So coming up soon. Fefe says, I love your shoe. Just one shoe, not a pair, not more than one, but thank you. Giovanni, any chances of expanding the kids line? Yes, we're working on that too. Thank you for reminding me. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Just FYI, I always let people in behind the scenes about what it's like running a shoe company. Shoot me in the head. It's the hardest thing I could ever imagine doing. And we were warned about this 7 months in when we started the company. Some guys who'd been in the footwear biz for 35 years said, we believe in you and we believe in what you're doing, and we would help you start this company, but we've been in footwear so long that we're not stupid enough to do that. And man, this is hard. So one challenge is simply that making kids shoes, most of the cost is in the labor, not the materials. And so, you can't sell a kid's shoe for the same price as an adult shoe. And finding a good factory that can make kids shoes, because some factories that make things for adults, they literally can't make kids things because they're not used to working at that scale. So anyway, that's behind the scenes. But yes, I just don't have an answer for when we're going to have more. But go to xeroshoes.com/feedback and let us know what styles of kids shoes you would like and what size, like how old are the kids, what size are they wearing? And that would be really helpful. Chris, any upcoming sales I just mentioned, make sure that you are getting our newsletter, because you'll be hearing about our big holiday sale coming up very, very soon. And he's playing basketball on Prios, and he says they hurt. I'd like to get more info about what that means, because I can't tell if that's just something about his feet or something that's happening when he's playing. And basketball, that's a whole other story. How old he is, what size he is. More info would be really helpful, by the way. Don't give it to me now. Just send an email to our support people and tell them to forward it to me because I got to get out of here. Feve, can I design a pair? You can, but that doesn't mean we're going to be able to make it. So if you're interested in doing that, go to Xero Shoes. Just actually reach out to our customer happiness teams, support@xeroshoes.com, and they'll point you in the right direction. Bilal, what are the strengths of the Mesa Trail 2 over the Scrambler Low? I would do it the other way around, actually. The advantage of the Mesa Trail 2 over the Scrambler Low, frankly, is just price, because the Scrambler Low is a way better shoe in many ways, which is why it costs more. So it's more breathable. It's more technically sophisticated. It's more flexible. It has the Michelin outsole that we developed with them. It's got gator hooks. The upper is, I think, a bit more abrasion resistant. What else can I say about it? It has some of the same protective features on it, but it's like the lightest, most technical trail shoe you'll ever get your hands on. We just saw a review from some doctors. I can't remember their name. I'd have to look it up. And one of the guys said, I'm just going to have this as my walking shoe. It's so comfortable. And when I want to, I can just bust it out on a trail. So do with that what you will. How often should we use the slack block to improve balance? It's from Bilal, and any other advice is for improving balance that will translate well for running in technical terrain. Well, use it as often as you can is the simplest thing I can say. It's just like lifting weights. The more you do, I mean, for lifting weights, you need to have the recovery time to actually build muscle. For balance, it's mostly neurological. So Jim Klopman, the guy who invented the slack block, he said he's doing like 12 minutes a day because, is it 12? Wait, yeah, because on each foot, like 2 minutes with your foot straight, 2 minutes with your foot. So it's like your big toe on it and the inside big toe. Wait, I got to do this. Big toe and outside of your heel, they're on the slack block, and then sideways. So he'll do 2 minutes of each of those on each foot, and not 2 minutes straight. If you fall off or slide off, you go off, you get back on. But he's doing 12 minutes a day, and I'm usually on there for, I do it like a couple times a week because I can really just like do it really well now. Any other things that are good for that? It's not so much. If you go to slackbow.com, you'll find other things that Jim has that he's developed that might be helpful. And then for just building foot strength, which is also really helpful, there's a thing called the MOBO board, MOBO board from our friend Dr. Jay DeSherry. Great product. So those are some things I recommend. Yeti. Wait, hold on. I can do this. Yeti. I can't do this. You know who you are. Call me Omar. Thanks. I should have read that first. Any plans for introducing more colors for the sunrise? Yes. And leave your suggestions for what colors you would like. Ideally, links to things that are showing the color at xeroshoes.com/feedback. Okay, I think I got to the end again. All right, I'm going to get out of here to go take the perro for one of those and a circumambulation around the neighborhood. And if you have any other questions, of course, you can put them in here. We'll have someone who will hopefully get back to you as soon as possible. Be on the lookout for info about our big ass holiday sale. That's not what it's called, but I like it. And what else? More importantly, I just say this at the end of one of these events. Obviously, I enjoy doing this, so thank you for coming and being part of this. Spread the word, especially during the sale. What we know is that the experience of Xero Shoes is what sells Xero Shoes, and it makes things life-changing. When Lena and I started this business just shy of 14 years ago, then we literally never imagined anything like what Xero Shoes would become and the people that we've gotten to meet as a result. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And our entire team, of which there are now over 85 people in multiple countries. We have our team in the Czech Republic. We have people here. I mean, it's getting crazy and wonderful. We all could not be more grateful, because to work for a company that is literally A, telling the truth, and B, helping people's lives. They're all just gung-ho. They couldn't want to help anymore, and they help a lot. So they're grateful. We're grateful. Brandon says, just want to say, love Xero Shoes. I own 4 pairs. Brandon, if you go back in the comments, you're going to see that people will mock you for only having 4 because of how many they have, but I'm thrilled. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being willing to talk to strangers when they stop you in the street to say, hey, what are those? Or aren't those Xero Shoes? Or, hey, I'm wearing them too. And thank you for, just everything that's happening to help move what we call the movement. In fact, note to self, I have a podcast at my podcast. If you don't know podcast, I got a joke about this in a second. www.jointhemovementmovement.com. My joke is everybody has a podcast. It's getting stupid. And if you want to hear more about my opinion, go to my podcast. And so, Blake, I would love to work with Xero and be part of that amazing team. Drop a line to HR, human resources at xeroshoes.com. Let them know what you might be, the kind of person, or what you could possibly do. And we'll let you know if that's something that we're looking for right now. And if not, maybe in the future. So anyway, xeroshoes.com / feedback for suggestions, support at xeroshoes.com to reach out to our customer happiness team. Join the movement for the podcast, the movement. My friend Chris, if you're interested in solar, look at the comments above. And by the way, he works nationally. So this guy is totally honest, full of integrity, best prices I've ever seen, better equipment than I've ever seen, better service than I've ever seen. Again, just want to help the guy out because he just left a giant company to start his own thing. And he's in fact, he was with the giant company, and that ended up bad. He fixed it. So, all right, I got to go. It's been a total pleasure for all of us. We're here to help you feel what you've been missing: natural comfort, performance, and health. We can't wait to hear what happened when you and your loved ones and your friends and strangers that you bump into get us into a pair of Xero shoes and go out and feel the world and live life feet first. Ciao for now.